we're back. We're back. Sorry for the delay yesterday. This is, so if you're, well, just as a little keynote first, if you're a videographer type character and that's your job, or you know someone like that, odds are they might have a camera that records to 2 different SD cards at the same time, just in case one of them goes kaput. That I ran into that a little bit. I probably could have ran it through a bunch of software, but it was already, you get the gist, right? But either way, beyond the technicalities, what's the plan for today's lift? What exactly is about to happen? And today is kind of that's the wrong word. I'm talking about tonight. Chest. A little chest action. I'm talking pecs, flies, presses, a combination of the two where you're kind of doing like a cable pressing sort of, in the middle type situation. But either way, they're going to be pumped up. And one thing I kind of want to highlight is, what happens pre-action, right? What's the step that happens before you make some shit happen, before you hit a set, before you actually hit a workout, before you get in your car with a freaking, bottle of pre and whatever? Like, what's going to happen before then, right? It's a thought. I'm talking, you got to send those signals from your mind to your body to even make that shit happen. So somehow you've got to be in a mental headspace to say, this is what I'm going to do, and take it from, just an idea, just like a little firing of neurons in your deep cerebrum, and translate it into a real ass blood pump, blood flowing rather, right? So if that's the case, a guy is never going to have a good lift if in his mind he truly believes to himself, I'm tired, I don't want to work out today. If someone truly, completely identified in their mind is like saying, I don't want to work out today, I'm too tired, it's not worth it, the guy would never work out, right? Sometimes you could think that, but deep in your mind, you still want to work out, right? Your desire to hit it will exceed your desire to quit it, right? And just stay home and chill, So that's sort of my angle here. What I'm getting at is I'm trying to imagine what sort of headspace do you like to be in that gets you going, right? I mean, it's this has been pretty deeply ingrained in my mind. Early when I'm working out, I don't know the exact date. This had to be 2018 though. 2018 for sure. I remember we did a family trip up to Michigan. We're in an Airbnb. It's just me and Mark and my parents, and I stayed up kind of late watching Rocky. This is the first time I really wait, was it Rocky 4? Oh, it might have been Rocky 4, but I'm imagining like the first one, and I'm talking Stallone, just dark, dungy, the apartment, big ass cup of egg whites, and then a jog, right? I'm not a cardio guy, but we all kind of get the feeling, right? And by not a cardio guy, I mean not like a running guy. I'm definitely a cardio kind of guy, but like thinking about that's kind of like a mental headspace where I'm like, yeah, because that's not a situation where it's like he put on his vapor flies and his Apple Watch Pro to make sure he kept his heart rate right in the realm that he wanted it to be in, and he's got his headphones. No, it's nothing. There's really nothing comfortable about the entire scene and display, but the action, right? Going out freaking, running around up the steps, the whole freaking town's into him. That's kind of exceeds what you might be able to relate to your own training. But like, shit, man, he got after it. I don't care if it's a movie. That's still something which can kind of resonate with someone personally and get them excited to go train, right? It doesn't matter, because it's kind of an art imitates or a life imitates art kind of situation, because I've never thought of it as just being so one-dimensional. You don't have to only take workout motivation from guys who work out and talk about it. It can come from anywhere, right? Because just as much as life imitates art is kind of like an exemplification of life. So it's like this back and forth kind of just play forward of really hype. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to get into. Like, I want to be like just where if you swap my brain into anybody else's body, I would still come in and hit a lift, because it's not related to just how I feel in the moment physically, or if I'm tired, or from anything, because those are not even though those might be challenges for the day, it's absolutely not to the level of a complete, disbarment of the lift in its, completeness, right? It's still going to happen. Doesn't really matter what might be going on around you. And if you can get to that sort of point, and I'm not saying like, you got serious shit going on that you need to deal with, and then you're putting it off to go hit a lift, that's different. But I'm talking like if you've got your own shit that you're dealing with, and you want the gains from continuing to work out and just like the overall, there's a million benefits. I've said this basically 1,000 times by now. Then you kind of, I don't want to say you owe it to anybody apart from yourself, but if that's your thing, then why slack? Who gets anything out of it, right? Nobody. And if anything, if you're kind of in a slump and then you stop working out, you're just digging yourself into a deeper hole, because now, once you maybe, come up from whatever you were kind of down from, it's like, ah, shit, man, I should have kept working out. Now I got to build, you get what I'm saying, right? But now I'm going off on a total ramble. Let's, I think there's nothing else to discuss. How about we just get in here and get started? And we're, yeah, what am I dabbling about? Let's jump in there. 4 plates is a little much, but 3 and a 25 is just right. Okay. Yeah, one more would have been impossible. Let's chop it to 3. That first set took a little too much out of me, I guess. Let's do one more and then move on. I'll make it a drop set. Okay. I gotta move. Let's do something a little lighter. Even though that was only like, well, I don't even remember. That was not 10 reps, which is usually like my minimum. But that still felt good. Like, I think the only reason I couldn't do 10 wasn't because I'm not capable of the weight. It's because the first one really wrecked me. But, curve the rules a little. How about that? But let's do something else. Let's do some nasty cable flies. And look, by nasty, I just mean I'm not going to sit here with a 3-second eccentric, a stretch hold, and then a pause at the squeeze. I'm not saying it's a bad set, but if you've never tried one where you really get into it and you're just pumping out good reps, of course I'm squeezing my chest, but using a little just more rapid motion, then I think you might be missing out. I'm not saying you are for sure, right? There are no guarantees, there are no black and whites. I'm just saying I definitely like a set like this thrown in. So, let me hit a couple. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. One more, and the next one will be very different. There we go. Okay, I lied. One heavy, nasty set was enough. Let's make this one a little more controlled. Holy crap. Fuck. I think I'll be good after just one more of those. Let's do one more and see, but that might be it. I've got a finisher planned. Two-parter. I'm talking cable press, and then similar flies as the last set, just a little lighter. So if you're ever at a Planet Fitness, you're gonna want to put one of the larger, like, additional weights right here, so you don't back your butt up into like this little fucking metal post. Certainly not comfortable. And then cables at like just about shoulder height with regular D handles, and you should just be able to sit right here, bend forward some, and you get a very well supported cable press. Like, there's machines that are just like this. Planet Fitness doesn't have them, right? So this is a good kind of combo where it's controlled, it's light, really good squeeze, and I can burn reps out here and then finish with more of a stretching squeeze with the flies. So a little bit of a two-parter, yin and yang style, because obviously press is a very different feeling than the fly. So combining the two into one set, right? You got the crispiness of a pie crust and the juiciness of the filling all in one, right? Insert your food analogy to taste. But I think if I do this one, well, obviously as hard as I can, then that'll be it. Then I'll be ready to get home and eat something and freaking grow. All right. Yeah. Holy crap. All right. Okay. Let's pose down. All right, they might get mad at me if I bust out the shirtless pose down, but the locker room is just kind of a no-go. I mean, even if there's nobody in there, if someone comes in, you're kind of blocking them. Let's go on record here. Tripods in the locker room, even if it's like, nobody's in there. Well, let's redline that. Let's take that off the menu. But I brought a tank because I forgot that I was doing chest. I thought I was doing arms. But let's see. Is there there's a reasonably visible chest pump, even through just the just the tank itself. I mean, that's what I'm aiming for. Like, if you can see your chest through I mean, a shirt that's basically covering it most of the way up. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna freaking get upset with that. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Even just sitting here, doing this kind of like pulling up sort of movement, and like seeing some grain on this underside. Yeah, that is what I'm aiming for. But feel like a beast. Workout complete, fully pumped, and what I would say is satisfactorily fatigued. And I mean, shit, what was that? Incline. Cable. Only 6? Yeah, man. And that first incline set really, I mean, that was good. I wasn't actually even sure I was going to be able to get that last rep that I threw in there. But lucky me, I had a certain TikTok audio playing, which helped me push it a little further, just a little closer to what I'm like fully capable of. You know, because I think if you like detached my brain and had like a Neuralink do that set with my body, it would be able to take it further, because it wouldn't have to deal with like a pain response or any kind of like oh, you don't want to exert too much lactic acid, like that sort of thing. Like training to failure, it's not so easy that it's just like a flip of the switch kind of thing, right? So that's why I'm always talking about like, you know, really get yourself in an amped headspace, because it's going to make it much easier to go to failure, because you're just ready for it. But let's get out of here. There we go. All right, a very good workout. That was a freaking, sounds like a damn supernova with the density of intensity, and that is not a bad thing. There's yeah, I mean, you know, it's like the fitness argument to be had. You know, it's, do I do more volume? Do I do more intensity? And it's like the debate like just circumvents a normal amount of both. It's always like, do I do 2 Mike Menser-esque, like debilitating 5 times drop set with assisted reps? Or do I do 25 sets of, you know, relatively easy curls and things like that? Where the hard part comes from just the fact that you're doing so many sets instead of like, you know, kind of a smaller number. But there's a sweet spot, right? With everything, there's a sweet spot. And I think that's something for you to find out, you know, and it'll change. For a while, I used to have, so I've gone through phases of basically judging workouts in terms of their volume and kind of overall plan by number of sets. Not number of movements, not number of like, you know, exercise and different pyramids up and down or anything. It was always just kind of total number of working sets. You know, half heavier, half kind of lighter squeezing. I think I've had a pretty decent amount of variety the whole time. But it used to be 25. 25 was my number. I was doing 5 movements, 5 sets each. 5 sets of flat, 5 sets of cables, 5 sets of pec deck, 5 sets of machine press, 5 sets of whatever. Like that was my number. Because at the time I was like, okay, you should do 12 sets per week per body part. Or no. It was you should do 25 sets per week per body part. That was like the number that I somehow found out. And then in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, if 25 is good, 50 is better. If 25 is good, 50 is twice as good. That was my logic. And it's not like it didn't work. I mean, I was making gains. You've got a really good buffer as a beginner, as I'm sure you are all very well aware, where if you just work out hard and you eat a good amount of protein, you're just going to grow, right? No matter what you're doing. If you gave a dude who did not work out ever a routine of 100 push-ups, let's say 10 sets of 10, you know, whatever, or as many as he can do in sets until he got 100, you know, 100 bodyweight squats, 100 whatever, like really any amount of at least like moderately strenuous activity, and had him do it consistently, the guy's going to make physical progress. You know, your body is going to adapt. If someone is in a state where they have no physical training and you add any, that's going to induce a change, you know? So as a beginner, shit, I mean, I actually look back at when I was doing way too much volume as a positive, because it actually set the stage for me to, one, get a lot of set experience, right? Because sure, I mean, did I need to do 25 sets of curls in an arm day? No. Like I'm saying that for sure. I did not. Like doing 10 good ones, doing 8 good ones, I think would be just as effective, if not better. But from having done that many back then, I got a lot of experience doing curls, so I actually had at least what I would hope to be maybe a quicker learning curve of actually getting a decent feel for it, you know? And then doing too much and then realizing you can back off some and like trying to just condense your workouts and make them more just, you know, on a set-by-set higher level of a workload, it's I mean, it's just kind of a good spot to be in, right? I mean, if you're training for a marathon and you can run 2 marathons of distance, the marathon is going to be easy, you know? So I don't look back on doing too much volume and thinking, oh man, I wish I would have lowered it, because shit, man, for one, it worked, and for two, I can see some positives I got from it. But it was hard for me to say, okay, I should do 11. I went from 25 to 11. That was my drop, and that was very hard, like that, because psychologically, and you know, it's like doing half as much work will equal the same, if not better, results. Like on paper, that's kind of a weird approach. Like that doesn't really make sense. If you study twice as much, you're gonna do maybe not twice as good on a test, but at least some percentage better, right? So usually more is more. But with the working out, I think it's a little more subtle, more intensity, more just real good sets is more. You know, so if you do enough of those, like 6, 8, whatever, then in my mind, I feel like that is a good workout. You can go home and begin the recovery process. That's the whole point, right? As much as you're tearing yourself down, you've got to come back and build yourself up stronger outside the gym. So, but going from 25 to 11 was hard. And then once I did it, and I kind of, you know, relinquished my preconceived notions and said, okay, let's at least try it. Let's try it. If it doesn't work, I can go back to what I was doing before. No harm, no foul, right? And guess what? 11 was fine. And then I worked my way down to 9, and then I worked my way down to 8. For a while, I was on an 8-set kick. So I'm approaching lower and lower numbers. And now I've reached the point, I feel, where it's not a specific number, which I don't think there's anything wrong with, but it's more so reaching a certain state in the workout that is also subject to change based on my kind of just overall recovery and how I'm feeling, and being a little more fluid with not like the bar of, you know, effort on a lift by lift basis, but on just what that lift is going to demand on that given day, you know, because obviously effort should be here, but do you need to do insane heavy movements every chest day? No, right? Odds are you're going to tweak something eventually. Actually, no, not odds are. I can guarantee you're going to tweak something eventually. In the gym, out of the gym, you open a door wrong, you picked up your luggage and you tweaked your forearm. I don't care what it is. Eventually, something will come up. And that's where being a guy who can say, okay, maybe I'll make today a little bit more light or squeeze and kind of just like really put my, you know, mind into the muscle kind of thing. That is going to make more sense, you know? And if you've got a day where you're really recovered, you're feeling strong, you're fresh, you've got a lot of food in you, you're ready to bring it, and go extra hard that day. I'm not saying more volume, I'm just saying make sure on these sets where you're like about to rack it, maybe just go for that one more rep you're not sure about, get a spotter or, you know, use a Smith machine and, you know, see what happens, you know? Because if your bar is like 100% effort on the regular, redlining it like a good way, then it's going to become easier, you know? Effort is in itself a skill, right? So if you work out hard on the regular, then soon working out hard won't be hard. It'll just be what you do, right? Like as much as I'm sitting here before that set of Incline Smith or whatever, saying like, all right, come on. That's not me saying like, oh, I don't want to do it, but I got to get myself amped up. No, I'm just trying to get myself excited because I know I want to bring it, you know? So that's one aspect of the working out that I think doesn't get talked about enough, is the fact that you're gonna not only adapt physically but mentally, and like even kind of an in-between of like neurologically, central nervous system wise, where like really being able to push yourself as hard as you can will become your new normal. And if really killing it is your normal, then you are setting yourself up for success. Because, I mean, let's be honest, like, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I think the majority of sets that go down in gyms, maybe not the majority, but at least a large percentage, are somewhere between uncomfortable to mindless. And I'm not saying more than 50%, of course, but there's a percentage where it's like, guys are working out, having a conversation, maybe you're not feeling it that day, you just go a little lighter. I mean, it's different for someone if you're just coming to the gym to get physical activity. I mean, everybody should be lifting weights no matter what, right? I mean, especially as you get older. Even if somehow I lost the whole bodybuilding itch and I was like, you know what, dude, I want to be the next parkour sensation or whatever. The working out would not change, right? Just because I've done it long enough, I know the overall kind of benefits. Like, that's a guarantee in perpetuity. That's not going anywhere. But, if I'm talking about the guys who, they want it. And I don't mean it as though, like, they want to be a professional bodybuilder, they want to be I'm just saying the guys who want real progress. There's just an unfortunate situation where sometimes the guys who do want it, like, they're not kidding themselves. They do want to be a bigger version or a stronger version, or just someone who can, do that kind of training. Because, I mean, someone who seriously works out is different than someone who doesn't. I'm not saying better or worse, but they're different. There's a percentage of guys who want it, but the difficulty of doing it kind of overpowers that desire, and then it turns them off, and it could, in a very real sense, crush the dream of that guy, doing what in his mind he can visualize himself doing. And to that guy, I say, you got to wait it out. The beginning of working out, for one, it's new, it's like a new thing. You've got the novelty factor, which should be helping you, kind of get excited about it at least. But it takes a while, right? This isn't 1 week and then you're benching 225 for 10. This isn't 1 month and then you've got ab veins and you're doing a crazy vacuum. Like, it is going to be a while. So for me, at least, I like that part of it. And I might just be saying I like it because I know there's no change in it. So I'm just trying to enjoy the situation as it is. Don't cry over spilled milk. It's going to take, however long to get to whatever your end goal or just, a state that you want to reach is going to be. So, shit, man, just make use of it, right? Enjoy the process. I can almost guarantee that if you reminisce on, whenever, back when you were in school, back when you were in whatever, it feels like a blink. Like that time just disappeared. It's totally gone. So if you know that that's how quick your free time and just your life is going to pass by, then if you've got something you want to get after, why wait? So that's something which it's sometimes a little hard to articulate the idea of. But I mean, I think about this a ton. I mean, when I look back at, even when I was like in just early high school or like middle school or when I was a kid, it's like I'm remembering it like it was yesterday. Not because I remember it so clearly, just because it's like, holy crap, man, I'm freaking 23. I still kind of feel like I'm a 17-year-old Sam, but no, it's been like 6 years. So I guess the overall shtick I'm trying to get at is don't let that time fly. I wouldn't show you my screen time on my phone. I'm embarrassed by it. But there is at least a portion of my time that I'm spending doing the things I really want to get after. You don't have to be a Hormozy 24/7 grind, but there should be at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, where you're like, this is the thing I want to do. Let's make it happen. That's my finisher for the night. If you showed up for this late lift, and since I'm uploading this so late, so if any of you guys actually kind of tuned in, I'm gonna hang out in the comment section for a while and kind of scan around. So if you got any burning questions that aren't too crazy, I'll get back to at least a good chunk of you. But chest done. It's late. I'm ready to go to bed and wake up strong for some arms tomorrow. So I'll see you then.